Are you looking to take that next step in your business, maybe even start a business or grow and scale your company, maybe expand it? And as a believer, you're struggling with how do you get to the other side and how do you take those steps? Or maybe it's, that you need to take a stand in the marketplace as a believer and it looks like there's a storm ahead. And so I want to share with you some thoughts around this. We've been in business for quite a long time, and that's why we founded Faith Driven Economics, is to talk about these things and the challenges that believers face, and really challenges to where their foundation is in faith and relationship to the Father and where it can go. And so I want to read this with you in Mark chapter 4. We're going to be talking about Jesus calming the storm, and this all relates to your business and every other area of your life. But I want to specifically hone in on some things here on the realm of thinking and faith that we need to be operating in, and just want to encourage you in that, and then maybe even share with you some things that you've never considered. And so in Mark chapter 4, verse 35, it says, "On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, 'Let us go across to the other side.' And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was." So this is Jesus with the disciples, and other boats were with him. "And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking in the boat, so the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they awoke him and said, 'Teacher, do you not care that we're perishing?' And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, 'Peace, be still.' And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, 'Why were you so afraid? Have you still no faith?' And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, 'Who is this then, that even the wind and the sea obey him?'" And I want to just kind of share something with you, a thought, and it's this: Jesus wasn't shaken by the storm, and he wasn't. And here's the thing: that's because Jesus lives in a realm of thinking with the Father, in relationship with the Father, where the storm does not affect him, and I want you to just really think about that for a moment and consider that, pray through that. And in your life, in your business, that, things can be shifting and challenges there, and that you're being called up higher. You're being called to take stands and make decisions for the kingdom. And, in the natural, you're considering all the natural things that could happen. And that's really just the enemy lying to you. Because as we walk relationship out with the Father in faith, we should be operating in a realm where, we understand through a dark glass what we don't see clearly in this, and that is, his ways are higher than our ways and his thoughts are higher than ours. But if we're in fellowship with him, we have divine access to relationship, a direct contact and connection with him, where we can function in peace and understanding, and even through prayer in our business. And so the reason why I want to encourage you in this is just to consider, your position in the kingdom, your position and your authority here on earth. If you view yourself as a servant coming to the Father, and you're begging of him to move and to change things in your life, or do you position yourself as a son and you speak with authority? And you see, I think that, if we look here at a couple things in this story of Jesus calming the storm, is number one, everyone likes to preach that Jesus was just flat out worn out, and maybe he was, but I don't suspect that that's the case. I suspect more so that, the reason why Jesus was sleeping through the storm is because, again, he functions in a realm, a heavenly realm and a heavenly place that we now, because of the Father sending the Son, we now have divine access to through the new covenant. The new covenant comes from a loving Father, my friends, a loving Father who gives us authority over these things. And that is why Jesus said, Do you still not have faith? Because they were in a panic, in a servant position, and begging him to take care of it. But he was speaking to them and said, and wanted them to understand something. They now have authority as a son in the kingdom, as the new covenant is being established at this moment in time that we read. And that's what he was referring to. And so, a couple things to take away from this is, number one, let's start functioning more in that realm. And part of that is just through daily prayer, daily communion with the Father, listening to the Holy Spirit, being confident of this, is that he who begun a good work in you will finish it. He will perform it. And the number two thing would be this, is consider this, is that he is the author and the perfecter of our faith. We, of ourselves, of our own works, are not the author nor the perfecter of our faith. Meaning, it isn't about the measure. We think that we need to be, if we're looking at a meter of faith, that we need to be up in order for things to happen. And no, I'm here to tell you that, that's just not the case. Because the word says that he is the perfecter of our faith, and that he gives more grace and more grace to abound. And so let's begin to function in that. Let's begin to move into that other realm. And here's the thing. The story starts out with Jesus saying something. And Jesus is calling you and I to something. And he says this: let's go to the other side. You see, he knew that there would be challenges, but because he functions in a different realm, in a heavenly realm, he was inviting them with him to go to the other side, to take the next step, to get to the next level. And because there was something God wanted to do. And so let's move to the other side. Let's understand and realize is that as the word is spoken, as the word goes forth and is spoken over your life, that trials and tribulations will come and challenges will come, because the enemy knows if he can attack the word in your life, what God is directing you to do, then he can get you to question and begin to get you to function as a servant rather than as a son. Begin to get you to function in death instead of in the spirit. And you see, to function in the flesh, to try and control everything ourselves, is death. That's part of the works mentality. But if we function according to the Spirit, because we're in fellowship with him on a daily basis, and we've got this direct line of access with him, we walk according to the Spirit, we won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. We cast down those thoughts, those imaginations that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. Not our knowledge, not our human knowledge. Now, in all you do, get understanding, right? But let's realize is that there is a different level of thinking, a different level that God calls us to, and that is a place of supernatural favor and blessing and ability and understanding, supernatural business, supernatural relationships, and divine connections. So, again, Jesus says on that day when evening had come, let's cross over to the other side. Are you ready to do that? Let's take that next step. Be encouraged, my friends. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, if you think this may encourage somebody, share it with them. I'd appreciate it. All right? Thank you.